I got a special guest that I want to introduce you to. This is just an incredible brother, and he came on board with us just a little over a year ago, and I've ministered with him in Africa and different places. Awesome, awesome teacher. But I want you just to welcome, what's your name again?
Jeremy Henderson.
Yeah, Jeremy Henderson. No, I really know his name. Hallelujah.
Thank you, Dr. Jerry. Hey, listen, quick shout out to our Mardi Gras guys who went to Mardi Gras. Hey, listen, I went 2 years, like 1993. And you're like, is that guy really that old? Yeah, I am. Went with Scott Hinkle. Isn't he amazing? Man, it was like rock my world. Well, listen, I just want to share a quick story with you. It was at a place called Fusion, 2013. I walked in the door. It was kind of like this, except multiplied by like 5,000 young people. And man, they are jumping and spinning, and the worship is like in your face, and it was like deafening music, and it was awesome. I just went to this youth conference to be with my son. I wasn't leading anything. And God really like used that experience to get a hold of my life in a radical way. I went to this youth conference, and I'm just worshiping God. I'm just seeking His face. And then this missionary got up, and he just started talking. He wasn't like the best speaker in the world. He wasn't like, it wasn't that I was drawn to him by what he was saying, except he got me with this story. He was walking for 4 straight days in Southeast Asia to get to this village that nobody wanted to go to because it was so out of the way. And he tells that, he took off his boots at the end of that time, and man, they were blistered up and bleeding. And, I'm thinking the first thing you want to do when you get into a village you've never been before is, man, you want to create relationships. You want to preach the gospel. And instead of that, he's like, you know what I wanted to do when I landed in that village? I just simply wanted to take a bath. That's what he said, I can relate to that. But you know what? He told about his son. His son has this debilitating disease. And they weren't going to receive the kind of treatment for him in Southeast Asia that he really needed. And for whatever reason, he said, you know what? I'm not going to let that hold me back from what God has called us to do. And we're going to move back to Southeast Asia. And I'm going to take my son, even though he's not going to receive the kind of care that he'd receive here in the States. Let me tell you what happened to me at that moment. See, just to be in a transparent moment, the one thing that had kept me back from going as a full-time missionary was my family. I thought, you know what? How in the world am I going to take this beautiful, beautiful baby boy, this wonderful girl who's just awesome and like the light of my life? How am I going to take her to a place where she's not going to receive the kind of stuff she'd receive here? And you know what God did in that conference was He put His thumb on my life. And He said, you know what? You are letting things hold you back from what I have called you to do. See, I was a Christian school administrator. It's not like I wasn't doing good things. I had been a youth pastor, a creative arts pastor. I was teaching and preaching and doing stuff. I was on staff at a church at the time. But when the altar call opened, I ran to the front. Me and a million kids. I'm the only 43-year-old down there. And I'm like snotting on the floor, and I'm just, when I got up after about 30 minutes, I could not even talk. I was just like, I've got to process this. And I got up, I couldn't speak, but I had made a decision. I'd say, God, if this is you, I'm tired of holding back. See, for me, it was a question of leverage. I've heard it said this, is that every person on the face of the planet is equally lost without Jesus Christ. But not every person on the face of the planet has equal access to the gospel. Understand? And listen, I'm not dogging the United States or, where we live. There's churches in Jacksonville, everywhere you turn. But you know what? On the coast of Tanzania, where it's 99% Muslim, they don't have a church on every corner. They have maybe never met someone full of love, joy, peace, patience, kindness, goodness, gentleness, self-control. They don't know what it means to be completely forgiven of everything. And so, in that moment, I made a decision. It's an investment choice. It's a leverage thing. I want my life to count. Don't you want your life to count? So think about that. You know what? God might have used something to bring you to CFNI, but to be very honest and be very candid with you, God may be doing something in your heart and may have a different direction even than you thought. Just like Dr. Jerry said yesterday or day before yesterday, he said God doesn't care about your personal plans. God has plans for you.